Welcome back. We continue live right here. Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani with you. Give us a call on the Bordas & Bordas hotline, 412-575-2600. We got an email and, a tweet. I haven't looked at email in quite some time. Twitter's taken over that. Robert Kemble says, Bob, what do you think about trading Josh Bell for his lack of power? I'd say, Robert, be patient. Patience is necessary when developing young players. He had a really good first year. The league adjusted back to him. He's struggled this year, no doubt. But more concerning is his defense, which still is just average. Today they had Cervelli at first, and he botched a pop-up really to the infield. It's not easy to find guys who can play first base well defensively when you have one. I think Josh Bell will be fine. I'm not going to do anything. He's still a guy I have penciled in as my first baseman next season. Let's go to Bruce in the North Hills. Hey, Bruce, how are you?
Hey, Bob, I'm doing well. Hope you are, too.
Thank you.
Hey, I wanted your take on something, Bob. When the Pirates first traded for Chris Archer and brought him here, these Pittsburgh sports fans were were ecstatic because they brought Chris Archer in.
It's like starving dogs, you know. They haven't had one of those trades in a while, and they just reacted. I thought it was a good one too. Go ahead.
But I mean, the guy has a losing record now. He's pitched 5 or 6 games here, and he's done absolutely nothing. He's been terrible. I mean, if that's the best we got to hope for, something's wrong.
Well, I think you're not going to see that as a continuation throughout this season or especially next year. I think he's still going to be an asset to them. Now, whether that means he's going to be a top of the rotation guy, doubtful. He's more of a 3. But he gives you an arm who can go 200 innings. And I think, you know, once he gets in here and has an entire offseason and recalibrates, I think he'll be fine. I also think they got to a point with Tyler Glasnow that they realized whatever, you know, the potential, he just wasn't getting it done here. Now, he may flourish down there. He may not. You know, Meadows is a big-time prospect. We'll see what happens there. But they gave up an awful lot to get Chris Archer, more than anyone else who acquired a pitcher at the deadline. So their expectations for now were just as important as they are for next year and the year beyond. They're not getting what they hoped for right now. You're right about that.
Well, I'm glad to hear your take, and I thank you for your opinion,
all right.
Bob.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. All right, Bruce. But I will say this, that like many of those star Pirate fans that Bruce referred to, I mean, I was okay with that trade because I've been saying for a while you got to start using prospects to acquire bona fide players, and that's what they did. So I'm not going to criticize them for it after the fact. Again, I think Archer will be fine in time. It's just a terrible beginning to his career as a Pirate. Jim in Castle Shannon, what's up? Jim, how are you?
Hey, Bobby, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
I'm glad to see you're back on sports again.
Well, I've been here, actually. Maybe.
Yeah, but I haven't seen you for a while on TV. But
right.
I just want to say, you know, I don't know who the scouts are for the Pirates, but a number of years ago when they got Derek Bell, played the outfield, and he didn't do nothing. They sent him down to the minors. That was a flop. Well, I think Archer, I think that trade they made with Meadows and that, I think that was a flop.
Well, don't you think it's too early to tell?
Well, I've been in Pirate. Look, I'm 74. I've been a Pirate fan all my life, but I just don't think Archer has it. He was lucky that one year he won the World Series. Yeah, well, God bless him. But I just don't think he has it. How old is Archer?
He's 29, and he should have more of what he has, but I still think he has an active and lively arm, and I think he'll be fine in time. I do. I think he'll be somebody who can help them next year. So, but they made that trade in part to help them this year, and it's been a failure from that point of view. 412-575-2600. Let's go to John in Sewickley. Hey, John, how are you?
Hey, Bob.
What's up, man?
Hey, I was watching this Chris Archer today, and it seemed like to me, for the first 4 innings that he was pitching, he was more concerned with his hair than he was with the batters. It seems like that baseball cap didn't fit him right, and I think it lost his concentration. Really.
Well, he's had that same hair for a long time.
I know, but those uniforms they had on today, I don't know, maybe the hat didn't fit right because every time he went to go stretch, he was touching his hair.
Yep.
It's going to be crazy.
You know, he also was, you know, he's an emotional guy, but he was showing emotion after he just given up 6 runs, too. Maybe he was mad at himself.
He's been doing that.
Yeah. All right, thanks for that. Appreciate it. I don't think it was a hair thing, though. Let's go out to Rick in Elizabeth. Rick, you are on the Sports Call. How are you?
Good, Bob. How you doing?
What's up, man?
Hey, just wanted to touch base. This whole sabermetrics thing in baseball, I think, is all what is wrong with baseball. I mean, you to really decipher this, you got to be an MIT grad.
Well, that's who they employ many times to do all this work.
Exactly, to go through it and to decipher all the numbers, and it's absolutely ridiculous that it's taken the individual away from the game and made it more of a team game to where you could bat .215, but if you hit 25 home runs, you're still going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. The onus isn't put on your individual production, it's put on the entire team. Oakland caught lightning in a bottle, okay, when they, with Moneyball and all that. But I think sabermetrics, guys, guys can go more innings than
I agree.
More than 100 pitches. Yeah. I mean, it's, I don't know. I grew up in a different era, and I think it's ruining baseball myself.
I don't think it's helping, and thank you for the call, Rick. I think, let me ask you this, well, you're no longer there, but I would ask the general audience here, back when Steven Strasburg had a pitch count, they were the team to beat in the National League, and they shut him down for the last part of the regular season and all postseason. And at the time they said, well, he's at a pitch count, we're sensitive to his arm. They cost themselves a chance to win a World Series because of that. And I think if you had to ask Mike Rizzo and his team down there, could they do that again? Would they change it? The honest answer would be yes. You can look at everything. Like I heard today, Neil Huntington on his radio show was talking about Jamison Tyone, who's really pitched well, and he did again last night. But they're using last year's innings pitched compared to this year, and there's more this year, but I would expect progression every year. But just because you get to a certain point, we're getting to an alarming number. Well, how about if he feels fine? This is why I didn't like the Brault decision the other day. He was cruising along. There was no sign that he was ever going to stop the way he was going, and that's been rare for him because he's not been very good this season. But they decided to go to Clay Holmes, your one guy left, and of all things, the way he's been wild, I just couldn't believe it as I saw it, and I wasn't surprised at the result. Alan and Cecil, what's up, Alan? How are you?
Hey, good, Bob. I
Good.
just wanted to kind of bring up the subject of coaching when it comes to pitching, whether it be the good coaching or lack thereof, because I hate to see people leave the organization and do well elsewhere like everyone else. But we see that happen with Garrett Cole. We saw it happen with Morton. Obviously, Glass now, his first couple starts down in Tampa Bay. And now we're asking questions about Archer, but no one ever seems to ask questions about whether or not we need to have better coaching when it comes to our pitching.
Well, I mean, there have been success stories that Ray Searage has had, and there have been failures. I think you look around the majors, you're going to find every pitching coach that has been successful in turning guys around, and some they just can't get to. So, Garrett Cole always, he had 19 wins here, don't forget. He was a top 5 Cy Young contender with Ray Searage as his pitching coach. So there was success there. What I didn't like about that move, and again, you'll judge this one as you should wait in time for the Archer trade to be evaluated, but let's look what they got. They got Musgrove. He looks okay, rather inconsistent at times, but okay. They got Colin Moran. He's an average third baseman in my view. He doesn't have the range. He's been okay for a rookie. I'll give you that. Better than I thought he could be for a rookie. Then they have Michael Feliz. He's not been good. And then there's a kid in the minors. For a guy like Garrett Cole, who could be a Cy Young winner, who knows? He leads the American League in a lot of categories. You knew, and he had a pretty good contract this year. Okay, he's going to cost some money down the road. Don't be afraid of that. It's the market. You got to do something. Or if you're going to trade him, you got to get more than what they got for him. In my opinion, that's why I didn't like that trade. We got to take a break. We'll come back with more. And the winner of the Sizzling Shot. We had a hole-in-one today. We'll tell you about that next when we continue live right here on Pittsburgh's CW.